I invite Dr. N. Devadasan to please come on stage and give his keynote speech.
Hello, can you hear me? Yeah. I was supposed to present on costs and access to healthcare, but my three subsequent speakers were talking on very connected but quite disparate topics. So I am trying to bring all of that together in a session on estimating universal health coverage. Everybody's talking about universal health coverage. There was a speaker, participant was asking, is it coverage, is it care? We are going into the semantics of it, etc. But even after 2015, after the HLEG report 2013, after the HLEG report has come out, we haven't progressed further in terms of what to do with vis-a-vis universal health coverage. If we look at the Sustainable Development Goals, one of the goals is universal health coverage. So why are we in this state? So I am going to present something, it's a work in progress, on how to estimate what is the status of universal health coverage in our country or in our state or in our district. These are, like I said, a little crude indicators, but it's a work in progress, and for the lack of better indicators, I'm using them. Somebody was saying, asked me, again today was saying, is it coverage? What is care? Is it universal health coverage? Is it universal health care? Actually, if you look at the definition of coverage, it's a spectrum, and this was defined by WHO way back in the 60s. And one of the definitions they say is effective coverage, not potential coverage. They say effective coverage is when people can access care. And I think, and I hope, when we are talking of universal health coverage, we are talking about effective coverage, where people can access care, not just the potential of accessing care. And then, of course, there's the issue of financial, at a cost that they can afford, and of sufficient quality. Many of you all may be knowing about this famous cube, the length, depth, and height of universal coverage. Basically, in short, we are talking about service coverage. Do people get the services that they need? Again, when I'm saying get, I'm not saying coverage in terms of have they got the potential, but is the services available and can they go to those services and get the care? Population coverage. Who are these people who are able to get the care? Who are these people who are not able to get the care? And then, of course, financial coverage. At what cost? Are they getting the care at costs which are affordable or not affordable? Now, like I said, 3 years after HLEG, we still don't know where we are vis-a-vis universal health coverage. So why do we need to know? Because universal health coverage is a journey from a point A to a point B. And we need to know where we are currently. In fact, in the 2010 report, the WHO very clearly says, has a lovely diagram which shows how you need to do a situational analysis, how you need to develop your interventions, intervene, and then review your status. And unfortunately, at this point, everybody's talking about universal health coverage, but we do not know where we are vis-a-vis universal health coverage. So there are, like today Geeta Sen was saying, there are many pathways to universal health coverage. You can do the tax-based route, you can go the health insurance route, you can do a mix. Most countries are trying out mixed methods, mixed mechanisms of financing. But one thing is very sure, you cannot use user fees and out-of-pocket payments to reach the goal of universal health coverage, because that defeats the purpose, because we are saying universal health coverage should be affordable, and where people should receive services which are affordable. And if the moment you talk of out-of-pocket payments and user fees, you defeat the goal of universal health coverage. So what do we estimate? We estimate both financial coverage, population coverage, services coverage, both in terms of quantity as well as in terms of quality. Now, indicators for financial coverage, there are a lot of indicators which the WHO has recommended, and we have the resource, there's data. Many people say, oh, in India we do not have data. But if you look at various data sources, we have the census, we have the national health accounts. In fact, the author of the national health accounts is just sitting there, the first national health account. We have the NSSO data, etc. So we have the data. And if we dig into it and analyze it, we get some idea. I'm just using out-of-pocket as a percentage of total health expenditure as one proxy data indicator. And then you see that those countries, for example, we say Thailand is a good example of a country which is achieving universal health coverage. And then you see that about out-of-pocket expenditure in Thailand is much less compared to, say, Vietnam or Cambodia, where the out-of-pocket expenditure, and of course, all of you all know, in India it is more than 60 to 70%. So obviously, this could be a quick and dirty way of finding out, assessing where we are in terms of financial coverage. Indicators for population coverage. Many times when we talk, we say, okay, our antenatal coverage, if you look at the latest NFHS and DLHS reports, antenatal coverage is in the 70s, 80s, 90s, depending on which state you're talking about, very good. But if we start disaggregating, then you find that maybe the women, the Dalit women have lower coverage rates. Maybe the poorest women have much lower coverage rates. Those who are living in hilly terrains have. So these are all the factors which we need to look at when we're looking at population coverage. Again, these are from the existing databases. So even ailments treated, people who are sick and who sought care, there's a differential between urban and rural, between lowest income and highest income. So there is differential, and this is the differential that we need to look into. Then when it comes to services, ideally we should have a package of services. We should be able to say, this is the essential health package which we will provide to our community, to our population. Unfortunately, in India, we do not have this essential package. We have not defined it. Each program has its own life of its own. So suddenly somebody says, okay, we'll have dental health. Okay, dental health comes in. Somebody says, I want to have cancer. Cancer comes in. Somebody says, I want to have I'm just being this thing, but we are just keeping on adding things without consolidating and coming with this thing of what is essential, what is the basic that we are going to provide to our community. And if I'm just again going back to our RCH days, if we look at these things of institutional deliveries and children fully immunized, unfortunately, a lot of good indicators for preventive care, but for curative care, there is very few indicators because there's no denominator to say how many people should fall sick. So what I have suggested is, okay, now NCD is a big problem in our country. Out of diabetics, how many are getting treatment regularly? How many are taking treatment regularly? So that could be one proxy indicator. Then it's preventive, curative, but also promotive care in terms of access to safe drinking water, access to toilets, etc. And if you look at This is from an annual health survey of a state. I'm not mentioning the state, but full antenatal coverage in that state, you can guess which state it is only 20%, right? This is in 2012 after 7 years of NRHM. Same thing in terms of treatment for ARI. Only 70% of children have received the treatment for acute respiratory infections. What happens to the other 30%? Do they contribute to the infant mortality and the child mortality which Dr. Ghaffar was talking about, or Dr. Werner Sues was talking about? So these are the things that we need to look at when we are estimating universal health coverage. There's a big issue on whether it is to be multiple indicators. Multiple indicators means more confusion, or a single composite indicator. There's been a lot of discussion in the WHO. The verdict is, the jury is still out. They have not yet decided on this. Now, looking at taking at the national level, if I look at some of the indicators for services and populations, the red is the highest quintile. Full antenatal coverage, very good immunization, their family planning needs are met. Whenever they fall sick, they get their ailments treated, institutional delivery, etc. But then you look at the lowest quintile, and you see we have a health and family welfare department which claims to be very focused on preventive care services. But still immunization rates, family planning, etc. still suffers, especially for the vulnerable sections of our population. This is one take-home message which I would like to leave with you all, that in India, if you're talking of universal health coverage, we have to find out who these people are. The people who are falling through the safety nets of our health system. Then when we look at out-of-pocket expenditure, again, I just took for the lowest. Look at this. Everywhere people are paying out of pocket, whether even if for immunization, whether it is for family planning services, whether it is for delivery, people are making out of pocket payments. This is the next thing that we have to address if we want to reach universal health coverage. To reduce out of pocket expenditure to the minimum. Otherwise, there's no way that in this decade or the next decade we are going to achieve universal health coverage. So to kind of conclude, I would like to say that our current status is we have a lot of services available, especially in the private sector, so people can technically access it, potentially access it, but they are not affordable, they are not available for majority of the population, especially the vulnerable sections, especially those who cannot afford to pay the money. So we have to, if we want to achieve universal health coverage, we have to focus on the vulnerable populations. We have to focus on reducing out-of-pocket expenditure. Today, in the previous section, there was talk about, why should we do insurance, etc. These are ideological debates. I'm not going to get into that, but what we need to do is that we should prevent somehow or the other people from paying out of pocket and being pushed into impoverishment because of medical expenses. Like I said, this is a note in the work in progress. We had published, some of us had written this up and published it, but we need a lot more work, and I'm hoping that you all will take it up, and in your districts, in your states, you all will see what is this level of universal health coverage. Thank you very much, and if there are questions, I'll take it at the end. Yeah.